Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Rebel Retrospective. I'm Kayla,
And I'm Tommy.
and this week we've decided we're going to start with what we've been watching recently. So, this week I've had a tiny bit more time than last week, but not very much. Constantly busy. And I have been watching a show that Tommy mentioned a few weeks ago. I've been watching Once Upon a Time.
Yes. It's
And
spreading. It's spreading.
It's fantastic. I've been meaning to rewatch it for a while because So, this is a rewatch for me, for some of it, because I remember watching it when it came out on TV with my family.
Too
All
many
of
years
us,
ago.
crowded into the living room. And I remember it being like a treat because it always came on quite late because it was on one of like the USA channels.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've really been enjoying myself.
It's fun. I'm watching it for the first time. I'm having a blast. I'm on the second to last season now.
Oh wow.
And I'm really hyped. I don't want it to end. Just never want it to end.
It's really, really good. I'm about a third of the way through season 2 now because I've just been binge watching.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. It's exactly the right amount of like grim, dark fairy tales that I just really, really love.
Yes.
But it's also still like and true love. Which I am.
And the power of friendship.
The power of friendship and true love, which I am a sucker for.
Yes.
So yeah, I've been watching that. It's really, really good. Y'all should go watch it.
Yeah, it's really good. I've been having a blast just sitting there watching it. Recently in the show, some new characters have shown up who are not fairy tale characters.
Oh my god!
And I think that's like, I'm loving it because it's some of my favourite characters. Like, all I need now is for Sherlock Holmes to show up, and I am well away.
That's it.
I'm ticking off like my favourite characters like checklist. So yeah, it's doing a good job. And one of the new characters that's shown up is played by the guy who plays Darth Maul in the Clone Wars. So everything he says makes me terrified.
Wonderful.
Because like I'm just there and I'm like, oh my god, that's Darth Maul. Oh my god, he's gonna stab me with his double-bladed lightsaber. Oh my god, help!
I still actually haven't seen the second 2 prequels. I've seen the first one now, and it almost bored me to tears. But I still need to watch the second 2. So what have you been watching?
Well, I have returned to an old favourite of mine.
Oh dear.
I was trying some stuff. I got a bit demoralised with some of the things that I was doing, so I was like, you know what? Let's go cheer myself up. So I returned to. Is it my favourite show? It's not. Gotham is, but like it's up there. It's How I Met Your Mother, and I've gone back.
God.
I have watched this show, I think, on record, because I tried to keep track, I think 7 times all the way through.
That's ridiculous.
And that's the times I've counted. So I went back to cheer myself up. I watched some classic season 1, How I Met Your Mother, and it still holds up. I mean, some of it doesn't, but it's still hilarious and beautiful and wonderful, and I love it to pieces.
Okay.
And it's all on Netflix, so
I don't know, because
watch it.
I keep hearing really mixed stuff about it, because some people are like, oh my god, it's amazing, it's really funny, and other people I talk to is like, it's sexist as fuck and I don't like it. So
yeah, that's the stuff that doesn't hold up that well, because it's kind of early 2000s stuff. I know one of my friends has a huge issue with Barney.
Yeah.
Not the actor. The actor's doing a really good job. Neil Patrick Harris, he's amazing.
He's amazing, yeah.
But the character of Barney, there are some issues.
Yeah.
But it's really weird because in hindsight, when you've watched it as many times as I have, Barney's not the bad one, it's actually Ted. But you don't realise that until you've watched it like 4 times.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah, so it's a mixed bag. It's from the same era as Friends is. It's all that kind of. It hasn't quite gone as annoyed people would say all PC yet, because it kind of hasn't reached that. It kind of time hadn't got to that point yet. So you kind of have to take it with a pinch. But then like the later stuff, the later seasons, which are kind of 2010s onwards, they've sorted it out by then. They're all good. Time's caught up. It's all good, and it's just really, really good.
Okay.
But you kind of have to watch the first kind of seasons and laugh at the bits that haven't aged well. You kind of have to do that.
Okay.
But it's really good. It's my favourite sitcom. So, considering it's competing with things like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and The Good Place and things like that, that's saying a lot.
Okay, well maybe I'll watch it.
Yeah, so that's what I've been watching.
So we decided to do something a little different this week. Instead of doing a new release and Irredeemable, we're doing something else. Would you like to explain what we're doing?
We're doing a Rebel Retrospective special.
Woo!
I don't exactly know what that means, neither does Caleb, but we're rolling with it.
Yep.
It's colour-coded in our spreadsheet.
It's beautiful.
That's how you know it's official.
Yep.
So.
Oh yeah, we have a spreadsheet. It's beautiful. We both love it. Just to explain the kind of people we are.
We'll talk about that another day. We're holding out for the spreadsheet episode. So.
Okay.
So. We decided to take 2 films, a film and its sequel.
Yep.
And sort of kind of pit them against themselves. So instead of it being like Irredeemable, is this good? It's more, is this better than?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So the films in question, because we love musicals, is the Mamma Mia films.
Yeah.
Which
I'd like to make a quick point here, which is when I was watching the second one today, because I haven't seen it yet, so I was just watching it for the first time, I remembered how much of a whore I am for musicals.
yes.
Oh my god. Anyway, carry on.
Just for some comedy, me and Kayla were talking this week about it, and we were like, "Oh my god, we both love musicals," and then we realised that we both wanted to go see the same musical.
Yeah.
Like we were both talking about this musical but we didn't say a name, and then we realised it was the same musical. So you know.
Yeah.
That says it already. But we're taking Mamma Mia and its sequel, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
Brilliant naming, by the way. Like,
it's really good.
Fantastic.
And we're going to try and determine, for a series of scoring, kind of, which is better. Now, I already know which one I think is better, but it'll be interesting to see what the results turn out to be.
Yeah, what the scores say.
I've got some categories. We're going to talk about it. We're going to pitch each other our views.
Should we get on with
it then? Yeah, sorry, I've been talking for way too long.
I can tell.
Category number 1.
Category is?
Music. We can't not talk about the music.
No, we really can't.
This is more about the songs, whether we like the songs. So Mamma Mia 1.
Yes. I mean, I love Mamma Mia 1 songs. Like,
yes.
For the majority, they're really, really catchy. I mean, it's ABBA, of course they're catchy. And for the majority, I really, really love them. I'm not so much of a fan of, like, the slower ABBA songs, but that's, like, a personal preference. And slow ABBA songs turn up in both films, so, like... I'm
with you on that as well, with the exception of SOS.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh my god.
That's slow, but then it picks up, and it's just, you can't not have a fun time.
It's a jam. It's a bop. Oh my god. Do you know? Okay, so there's Cher did a version of SOS, and it's fantastic. And I was listening to it on repeat for about a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's really good.
So, when it comes to the music, we could sit here and we could list songs, but at the end of the day, all the songs are good.
Yep.
It comes down to just which selection of songs do you prefer.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to look up like the songs in each film now because otherwise I'm never gonna be able to tell. Hold on a second.
See, I'll go ahead with my opinion while you're doing that then.
Yeah.
So this is a bit weird, but most of my favourite ABBA songs are in the first one. So obviously Mamma Mia, Dancing Queen, SOS, Gimme Gimme Gimme, A Man After Midnight, Honey Honey.
Yeah.
All of them are like my favourite ABBA songs.
I hear a butt coming on, yeah.
But I prefer the music in the second one.
Okay.
I just prefer it. I think the songs, I don't know, maybe it's just because I don't know, just yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to the second one.
Well, I'm looking through like the song list, and oh god, the thing is, overall, the second one has a higher ratio of slaps to so songs, whereas the first film just has like the famous bops, as it were.
Yeah,
like
it's an ABBA's best hits kind of thing.
Yeah. Which I love.
See, I like the obscure songs. I like the unsung heroes, if you like.
That being
Although
said,
they are sung.
the first one has Voulez-Vous in it, and the second one does not. Which,
that sounds like a deciding factor.
it almost, it's very, very close to being a deciding factor, simply because I love Voulez-Vous so much.
That's fair.
But I think the second one wins out just because the songs overall kind of keep the tone of the film to one sort of constant tone, which I really love.
That leads us on to, I think, the next point.
Okay.
Because we need to talk about the music in context to the film, not just the songs.
Yeah.
But how they play in the film. So my view on it is, I think Mamma Mia 1 doesn't do a very good job of incorporating the the songs into the film. They kind of just seem a bit, look, there's Dancing Queen, here's Mamma Mia, here's SOS, go for it.
Yeah,
Whereas the second one, I feel it all makes sense. It's like everything is done in service of the story.
Yeah, I get the feeling that the first one was written around the music, whereas the second one was like the music was sort of matched to it a bit more, you know?
So I have an example which illustrates this point perfectly. Mamma Mia, the song in the first one.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of how it's used.
Yeah.
It's fine, but in the second one, they turn Mamma Mia into a heartbroken love ballad and then turn it into a song about empowering yourself after a breakup.
Yes, and that was
it's like,
fantastic.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like, it like starts off really sad and somber and slow, and then suddenly it's like, oh, I've got my confidence back, here we go.
Yeah.
With Mamma Mia. Like, how can you... I just can't believe they did it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense in my head. It's probably my favourite use of a song in that film. Yeah, so that's why I'm giving it to Mamma Mia 2.
I think we're going to have to give the musical number to Mamma Mia 2 because the music does make more sense, and that is a thing you have to consider when you are writing a musical.
Yeah. So our next category
is...
we're talking cast. We're talking the people making this happen. What do you think? I mean, some of the cast is the same, some of it's not the same.
Quite a bit of the cast is the same, which
Yeah.
makes sense because it's a sequel.
Yeah.
The second film does cast really well. I think
It
that
really
the
does.
younger versions of the characters we already know are
Are
spot on.
fantastic.
They are fantastic. They do their
And
job really, really well. I'm very proud of the actors because I know it's quite difficult when you have a very particular type of character that you need to play.
yeah.
But they get that
But
spot on.
see, I am the biggest advocate for Lily James.
Yeah.
So
She's
I
babe.
absolutely adore her. I love her. She's dating Matt Smith.
Is she?
It's awesome. I'm fairly sure they're still dating.
I don't keep up with that kind of gossip, but okay.
No. So I love her to pieces. She's part of the reason I wanted to see this film. She's in Baby Driver.
Yes, she was really good in Baby Driver as well.
She's really good in everything.
Yeah.
She's also Cinderella.
Oh yeah, of course
Just
she is.
in the most recent live action Cinderella.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And she's fantastic, and I love her, and I stand by my statement, and my family do not agree with this, but I think she is probably the best singer, like the best main singer out of all of the cast. I think she does a better job than Meryl Streep, and everyone attacks me for it, but
Yeah,
I love her.
That's the thing. I don't think Meryl Streep was, a trained act. Oh, I want to check that before I say that out loud.
Yeah. She also does a better like watching these back to back. I
Yeah.
noticed little mannerisms that Meryl Streep's character has, and Lily James does those because obviously character consistency.
Yeah.
But she just does it better. It's like it looks like she invented those characteristics, not that she took them from just. But yeah, casting in the second one of the young people is on point. They're all fantastic. Thank God they didn't keep all of in the first one. They have like the funny outfits
Never
for
mind.
all the dads.
She is a trained singer. Yeah. Please ignore me.
Okay, so in the first one they have like photos and that of the younger ones, but it's obviously not the new younger ones. And they've all got like. Sam has like a mustache and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad they didn't carry that forward.
Yeah.
That would have been really awkward. Yeah, just cast.
Yeah, and also I was sitting there the whole time I don't know who plays him, but just drooling over the guy who plays Bill because
Yes. That's really funny.
Also the younger version of Tanya, both of them. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, be still my queer beating
Yeah.
heart. They're hot.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Are we giving that to Mamma Mia 2 then?
I don't know, because the thing is, the second film has like pretty much all of the cast of the first one plus some more. So I don't
That's
know
a
if
good
that
point.
actually.
What do you think of Amanda Seyfried as why have I just forgotten her name?
Sophie.
As Sophie. How do I remember the actress's name and not the character name?
I think she's really good in both films, honestly.
Yeah, she's not my favorite, but she's alright. Yeah.
Yeah. She's chill, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
I think. Okay, this is gonna be a bit odd, but I think that we have to give the casting to the first film, because without the cast of the first film, I don't think the second film would have worked. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's a fair. So this one is not gonna. This next one's not gonna be a. You'll just know immediately.
Okay, let's go.
So this film features a cliche, I guess, that I have coined the casual Pierce Brosnan. Now, what that is it's Pierce Brosnan where he is not the main character. And he just casually is there.
Yeah.
Now, James Bond's obviously the main character, but he's not in this. And I also noticed it when I was watching The World's End the other day.
Okay.
Good watch. And he just is there and he's doing great. Just the casual. Anyway, so my category is Pierce Brosnan singing because he cannot sing.
He really can't. Like, it's fine, but like,
because in the first one he's given like 3 songs, whereas in the second one he's given like 1 song where he hums along to it. So I think we have to give that to the second
one. Yeah, because my dude, he tries, but
he does try.
I don't think he's ever been like, his voice has not been trained, and if it has, it wasn't trained well.
See, I really liked in the second one what he did with the like humming along to it. That was really good. But it just doesn't hold up in the first one.
Yeah.
So, moving on to some more in-depth things. It's going to get a bit film critical at this point.
Oh.
We're firstly talking plot.
Okay.
The story. What do you think?
So the second one's plot is simpler than the first, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a thing to consider.
Yes.
And also the second one has less Meryl Streep in it, which is clearly a bad thing. Shut up, I love Meryl Streep. I will come for you. Joking, mostly joking.
Lily James is the best. You heard it here first.
I'll fight you. Anyways, that's a hard one really, because
it is really difficult, because I watching them back to back, and this is an appreciation I didn't have until I watched them back to back. The second one is, as you said, it's a simpler story. I find it more engaging.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting, the parallel storytelling. But the first one has just the most hilarious storyline ever.
Yeah.
And it's just, I hadn't appreciated until I watched it. It's hilarious.
Like, the first one has it for the comedy, like, the comedy props, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas
like,
the second
no,
one...
it's just the whole idea that there's, like, 3 guys, and her dad is one of them.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, let's it's going to be about finding out which one. It's going to be a mystery. Nope, they're just all her dad.
They're all her dad. Which...
That is the most hilarious conclusion to a plot ever.
From a polyamorous, like, standpoint, it made me very happy.
Yeah.
Because, like, the whole way through I was like, why can't they all be her dad? And then they were like, we'll all be her dad. And I was like, thank you!
Yes.
Thank you. Finally.
So yeah,
Good
that's fantastic. And it even, like, I find it even more hilarious in the second one. There's a scene where it's like the word is spreading that Sophie is pregnant, and she's just like, who did you tell? I only told Sam because he's my stepdad. And then Sam's like, oh, I told Bill because he's my best friend. And Bill was like, well, I told Harry because he's also her dad.
And then Harry was
and
like, I told
of
many, many people.
And I'm just like, there is no way that in the real world that, like, dynamic between the 3 of them would exist.
I mean, not necessarily, but, like, I enjoy the, you know, that dynamic is on screen, so that people are maybe like, oh, so maybe I don't have to fight over this woman. Maybe we'll just all be buds. Just
in my head, it's like, oh, I told Bill because he's my best friend, and I told Harry because he's also her dad.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god. But that's like a point to the first movie, not the second one.
Yeah.
Sorry, second movie. Yeah, I'm gonna let you make this decision because I don't want to be biased.
I think the first movie gets it.
Okie dokie. So, moving on to some more in-depth film stuff.
Even more.
We're talking cinematography. We're talking colours. We're talking how pretty it all is.
That's not even a question. The second one knocks it out of the park.
Yes, 100%. It's
that's
beautiful. The colour is like, I hate the first one because of the colour. It's all too yellow and too blue at the same time somehow.
Yeah.
Whereas the second one is gorgeous.
It's a gorgeous film. I had a lot of fun
Yes,
watching it because I was
really
just
is.
like,
It really
it's
is.
so pretty.
It is so pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not even a contest, is it?
No. Why would you
So I
even?
think this one's going to be a contest either.
Okay.
So, next category is I've called it imaginative filmmaking. I don't really know quite what that means. I'm talking about like the creativity of stuff. I'm specifically talking about some specific scenes in the second one that are just beautiful to watch because of the camera work. So, I guess it comes down to camera work.
Okay.
That would be the category. Anyway, it doesn't. Whatever. It's those bits. I noticed it in the scene One of Us, when they sing One of Us.
Okay.
And it like pans through mirrors and all of that. And it's so I remember seeing that in the cinema and I was like, that is beautiful.
Oh my god.
And then they keep doing it with like the seamless transitions between the past and the present. Yes.
Yes. Okay, I know what you're talking about now, and I think this is a little bit of an unfair category because the second one has
I did think that
more
because
of
I
that
watched
to
the
do it with, if that makes sense.
I watched the first one, and the opening scene of that with like all the dads like rushing to the airport and everything. That's done like split screen. It's almost like Edgar Wright split screen and stuff.
Yeah.
But then they just don't do it for the rest of the film. It's like they have the capacity to do it, but they didn't. And that's, I think, my issue with it. Clearly they know how to do it. They can do it.
Okay.
Like maybe they could have done, because the whole point is there's three dads, so they could have kept doing that split screen thing to do like clever story stuff, and they didn't.
But they didn't. So I think we're gonna have to give it to the second one.
And it's pretty to watch, and the camera work's creative.
The camera work is really creative.
And it's just it's panning through mirrors, and it like they're like back to back on a wall, and it's like spinning through the wall.
Yes. And you're like, yes! I had a full minute there where I was like, how do they do that with a set?
And then, there's a bit at the end, because I'm not a huge fan of the ending of the second one. Like, I'm fine with what it is, but, like, it's just not what I found it. I basically, until the last 20 minutes or so, it's just kind of, the last 20 minutes wasn't kind of what I was necessarily, I don't know, just wasn't my thing, which is fine.
Okay.
But there's a scene where like you they've all been like walking up to the church chapel.
Yeah.
And then it like pans in and you're like, oh, Sophie's gonna walk through. No, it's actually Donna, like young
and
Donna.
You're like, ah!
You're like, that is smooth.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. So yeah, that's...
Yeah. The camera transitions are really, really good, guys.
Yeah, it's really good. So, the final category, not that it actually matters in the scores, but,
No.
you know,
We'll do it anyways.
is the credits.
Ooh.
Because they both have really good credits.
They really, really do.
With like, but which is better? It's a different.
That question.
I have my reasoning for.
Okay.
So, my view on it is the first one. They're just standing there dancing and like singing. They're not like, they're just characters show up. It's like on a black background and stuff.
Yeah.
In the second one, they're like on like a recreation of the buildings on the island, and they're doing like dancing, and then they're pointing like over, and it's like the young cast coming out, and it's like an actual stage show where like it's a curtain call, and they're just like all the cast, regardless of whether they are like in the same time zones or whatever, they just all come out.
Yeah.
And it's like, in my opinion, it's one of the best adaptations of a cliche, I guess, of musicals. Like, the
Yeah, but
curtain call is like a well-known musical thing. Like, everyone
yeah.
does it, and that's one of the best adaptations like to film that I've seen of like something
Yeah.
like that. So like, I was really impressed with that.
It
'Cause it's
makes me very
fabulous,
happy.
so good. And then all the all the young ones dancing with, and then like the old ones.
Yeah.
It's
I would like to mention
so good.
the two Harrys dancing was fucking hilarious.
Yes. Oh, do you know
Oh
what I
my-
love about the two Harrys?
Go on.
That okay, so Colin Firth is an attractive gentleman, you know.
He is
Um,
a whole ass
but
feeling
like
that I would like to climb.
in my opinion, young Harry is less attractive, and I think that's hilarious
Yes.
because it totally plays into the story. I know it's not relevant to what we're talking about, but like, it totally makes sense,
It does.
and it's beautiful.
And he's so awkward and I love him.
Oh, he's like every awkward person like on a date who's like, "Hey, can I ask you to do a specific thing so that I can hold your hand?"
Yeah.
So good, so good.
Oh, I've been on way too many dates like that.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to credits.
Back to the credits. I think the
So-
second one also has to take it with the credits because, yeah.
Okay, great, fantastic. So, the scores are in.
Ooh.
Mamma Mia 1, 2 out of 8.
Oh.
Mamma Mia 2, 6 out of 8.
Yeah, I think we have a clear
That's-
winner,
yeah,
ladies and
yeah.
gentlemen.
Which I'm very pleased about because Mamma Mia 2 is my favourite of the two.
I
So,
like it. It's
it's-
fun.
it's
I
really
sang
good.
along.
It's really good. It's like, there's so much, like the opening, not the opening scene, but like the opening thing in the second one with like When I Kissed the Teacher,
Yes.
and it's like, this is beautiful. Also, it's like so this is kind of relative to our time, I guess. Like, the modern stuff takes place in our year.
Yeah.
So, like, this is back, I don't know, maybe the 60s, 70s?
I think it's mid-80s.
Okay, mid 80s. And it looks like they're in, like, Cambridge or something.
Oxford.
Is it Oxford?
Yep, pretty sure.
Fantastic. I was close. That's my biases. Cambridge. Anyway. And it's just like, oh my god, you're, like, valedictorian. That's an American thing. Why am I saying valedictorian? Anyway, it doesn't matter. And then she just bursts into song.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes,
Yes.
that needs to happen. And she's like wearing the golden boots the whole time.
Yeah.
You don't notice it until they like reveal it, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh my god, yes.
I've got the
any-
wiki up. It's 1979, and it is Oxford. I was right.
79 in Oxford, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got any standout scenes for you? I mean, every scene's a standout scene.
I mean, yeah, obviously, but I really liked the scene where young Donna is like going and picking oranges, I think, and she does like this cartwheel in this orange skirt, and it's just gorgeous.
Also, if I remember correctly, isn't that cartwheel completely unnecessary?
Oh, it's a completely unnecessary cartwheel, which
Yeah.
makes it better.
That's really good. I
And
like
also all the scenes in the bar, fantastic.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I quite like all the meetings with like each of the three dads.
Yeah.
So like it's obviously very obviously a tick box exercise. Like, oh,
Yeah.
there's Harry, oh, there's Phil, there's Sam. But I like that it's actually kind of cool. So
Yeah.
obviously she meets Harry, which I think is probably the weakest of the three, like in terms
Yeah.
of the scene, but it's still pretty funny. It's quite comedic. And then when she meets Bill, and then you have what's the song called? What's the
How's it
song
go?
that's Why Did It Have to Be Me? There we go.
Oh, yes.
And that scene is beautiful, and it's like Bill's great in it, but it's 100% look at how good Lily James is.
It's fantastic.
Just being fabulous and confident and like also like bumbly awkward as well. Like sometimes she's confident but also like awkwardly like okay, this is how, and it leads into a scene where like they have to rescue that guy, that like random side quest.
Yeah, the
like,
random side quest.
We love a random side quest in a movie.
We absolutely do.
And you just like, it's just, I just don't. Okay, and then Sam is, I don't think as good as the Bill one, but like, it's good, and they meet, and it's a horse, and it's like a bonding moment.
Yeah.
And it's really sweet and
also I was watching that whole scene like, oh my god, someone's gonna get their fucking teeth kicked in by that horse. Oh god.
It's surprisingly scary with all the thunder and everything. It's it's surprisingly intense for a Mamma Mia film.
Yeah.
And then you get to see Sam come back, like you said in the first one, where he like came back, and then they're like, oh, she's moved on. Bye.
Yeah.
it's just,
and you're just there like, no, Sam.
And then one of the friends, I don't remember their names, is like hitting on Sam, and then the other one wants to get with Bill.
Yeah.
And then she ends up with Bill in the future, and it's just really funny.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
And the cake.
The cake, because she makes a like best-selling cooking book, so she's all about the cake, you know.
Cake.
It's just
So basically, what we've learned here is we're both whores for a good musical, and we're both fucking hoes for good camera work.
Yes,
that's it.
And we love every ABBA song, regardless of its use in a film.
Yep. They're all good. Fight me.
Yeah, like probably what actually might be my favourite ABBA song, which is Gimme 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 a Man After Midnight.
Oh,
so good.
Don't get me started.
I remember I was listening to it while I was on holiday last year. It was great. And that's not used, I think, that well in the first one.
No.
But oh my god, was I singing along to it when it did show up.
Obviously. Because... oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, fun fact about that, actually. So, you know, Madonna's... oh my god, I can't remember the name of the song.
Oh yeah, Cher is in the movie, by the way. Just
oh yeah, Cher turns
completely,
up.
We completely missed that, and she sings Fernando, and it's amazing. Anyway.
Hold on a second. What's the fucking song called? Hung Up. So, the song Hung Up by Madonna, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has the same, bass, like, sort of, I don't want to say bass line, but sort of intro bit and underlie as Gimme Gimme Gimme. And the thing about this is that no one was allowed to use it because obviously it's copyright and you'd have to get in contact with ABBA to be like, hi, can I use it?
Yeah.
And for the most part they refused, but Madonna sent them an email like, hi, I really love it, can I please use it? And they were like, yeah, sure. So there's only 2 songs.
I'm listening to that song after this.
With that, I don't want to call it a bass line, but
I know what you mean. So I think we should move on before we lose it
collapse
completely.
Into just music. Yeah.
By the way, Cher's in it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Cher's in it for like literally no reason.
It's
which is
sorry.
fine,
I'm sorry. We're not moving on yet.
Yeah.
There's this guy. He's played by Andy Garcia, and he's like just around. He's like the new hotel manager.
There.
He's just there, and everyone's like trying to hit on him because he's
hot.
Spanish.
Don't know. Maybe.
Was he Spanish?
I
think he was Spanish. Anyway, and then it turns out his name's Fernando, and then when Cher shows up, she's like singing Fernando with him, and then is it Tanya?
Yeah.
Yeah. This I lose track. They are like, oh no, I'm so sad, and then Andy Garcia's like, oh, this is my brother or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay.
Hello.
Also, what happened to Sophie's friends while we're just here?
I don't know.
Sophie's two friends from the original, who I'm fairly sure one of them has a very prominent Scottish accent. I seem to just
Maybe.
remember like her accent standing out and being like, this is set in Greece. Where would Sophie have met, like...
The accents are all over the place, I don't
Yeah.
even know.
So, but yeah, they just vanished. But oh my god, it's just... words.
Words.
I'm so sorry for you editing this. Just
Yeah, I'm
words.
gonna have a fun time later.
Actually moving on now.
Actually, moving on.
Showdown, throwdown.
Showdown, throwdown! Yes, okay, so, for those of you joining us for the first time this week who have no idea what's going on, Showdown, throwdown is the segment of the show where we take two characters, throw them in a... Tommy picks two characters, throws them in a football field, and asks me to work out which one of them would win in a fight. Or which one I would rather date. Or who has the best fashion. It's been a bit varied.
It's been all over the place. We wouldn't expect anything less. So
who have you got for me this week?
To align with my commonly used by no less than one person, my casual Pierce Brosnan trope, we're doing James Bond.
Okay.
And Indiana Jones.
Okay.
In a football field. Now,
right.
As to which James Bond it is, it doesn't have to be Pierce Brosnan, but it can be if you want.
I would like to mention at this point, I know nothing about James Bond. I'm aware that, James Bond is a character, and he shoots guns, and is generally a pretty good spy, and is also a fucking womanizer, and we don't like that. But, back to the point.
So, funny you should say that. Let's do a mini James Bond segment, shall we?
Go on.
Only one James Bond, I would say, is actually a competent spy.
Okay.
And good at their job.
Oh, shit.
And that's the Daniel Craig one. And he is... he's basically... have you seen the Jason Bourne movies?
No, I haven't.
Oh, we're going to have to do that at some point. No, so... Basically, just think of the Daniel Craig Bond as like a rhinoceros.
Okay.
Who just charges into every situation, then drowns someone in a sink, all while wearing a suit that's slightly too small for him.
So he's a chaotic neutral character with a taste for tight clothing?
I guess. I mean, he just sort of he's a monster is the best way. He could just take on anyone. Like,
but in a sexy way or in a not sexy way? This is important.
I would say not.
Okay.
Unless you like being drowned in a sink.
I don't. That's not one of my kinks, so I'd say no. Okay.
So that James Bond, the rest of them, like the old, basically from 60s through to the early 2000s, they're all just a bit ridiculous.
Okay.
They do a bit of judo. Every now and again.
This is a question, actually. Are we talking films James Bond, or are we talking books James Bond? Because I do understand there's a bit of a difference.
So I'm not doing books James Bond, because that is a whole can of worms that you do not want me going into.
Oh dear.
Because the James Bond books are a guilty pleasure of mine.
Oh dear God.
Just
the more you
we're
know,
not going there. So we're sticking to Read Silverfin. It's a good book. Anyway, we're sticking with movie James Bond. We'll avoid all the useless ones. We don't need someone who can dress up as a clown. I'm looking at you, Roger Moore.
Okay.
So we'll go Daniel Craig. He's strong.
Strong.
He's tough.
Okay.
He can beat people up.
Nice.
He's competent. He can climb onto almost anything.
Okay.
He'll drown. If there's a sink, he'll drown you in it. If there's a helicopter, he'll take control and crash it.
So what I'm hearing, yeah, is he's a chaotic neutral rogue who has way too many points of strength.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay.
Versus Indiana Jones, who is scrappy.
Yeah.
Is the best way I think I could describe him.
Yeah.
Remember, all gadgets and stuff are in play. Indiana Jones has his whip, his gun. James Bond has what modern gadgets for the Daniel Craig? So we've got a gun that only he can fire.
Okay.
And a tracker.
I don't think that's going to be very useful.
And let's say Q is on hand because Q is played by Ben Whishaw and we love him.
You love him.
So he's just in the audience if needed.
Okay, he's just like sitting in the stands, like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
What happens? I mean, I'm guessing they're gonna fight.
probably, yeah. I'm gonna go on the presumption that they've each been told that the other is really bad and needs to be gotten rid of.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
And they're both, like... I don't know if they're essentially good characters per se, but, like, Indy is.
Oh, but they're both happy to kill people.
Oh, yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I
think it'd be a decent fight. I'm not...
a lot of punches, a lot of blood.
Yeah, I think
blood
people's,
foam. It's gonna be...
people's guns would be kicked away. They'd end up with the wrong guns. They'd end up with the right guns again. They'd try to shoot at each other, but they both dodge. It'd be an intense fight. But
Yes.
But I think Indiana Jones would win out with the whip. Because
With the
whips
yeah.
are a very difficult weapon to use. You have to be very, very good at them to make them work.
And he's very good at them.
He's very good at them, and I don't know if you've ever been hit by a whip, but they hurt.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah.
And I don't care how tough James... name's John. Sorry. There's like this one like meme that I really, really like that has James Bond involved, so back to the point. However tough James Bond is, I don't think he's tough enough to like tough out a whip crack.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I think Indy would win that one. But I'm not sure if he'd kill him outright.
Yeah. My thoughts were
Yeah.
Indiana Jones is scrappy, as I said. He's gonna find some like dirt or dust on the floor and he's gonna throw it at Bond's eyes.
Yeah.
Like he's happy to do that.
And Bond, I feel like Bond is above that.
He's also he can take a beating. Indy just gets beaten up for like most of the movies.
Yeah.
Sometimes like being tortured with a one of those doll things. I feel like he could just last it out until James Bond just tires, and then it's just pummel you, whip, strangle you.
Yeah.
It's not even. It's gonna be brutal.
Yeah.
Plus, there's no kitchen sink
Exactly.
for Bond to drown Indiana Jones on a football field. So
and there's no fridge for Indiana Jones to hide in.
no. So although there's also like no planes or anything, because like most of Indiana Jones's fights, he wins by like pushing someone into a plane or like a propeller.
Yeah.
Whatever would happen, they'd get tired, and then Indiana Jones would just pull out a gun and shoot him.
Yeah.
Like he'd shoot first.
He would shoot first.
It's. I feel like that's how that's going.
Yeah. So.
So.
How are you getting on with the Lego games?
Well.
Given that there is a Lego Indiana Jones game, which I played when I was a kid and was fantastic. But it's been a hot second since you talked about the Lego games. Where are you up to?
I have been diving into Lego Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars.
Oh, I love that game.
Which is really funny, I realised, because do you know why it's called Lego Star Wars 3?
No.
No? Okay, so I always assumed it was because of it being like in between episode 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Like it's all linked in. That's when the Clone Wars takes place. But it's actually because there is actually 2 games before it. So like, there's obviously Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, but there's also an original Lego Star Wars: The Original Trilogy game.
Yes, yeah, I've played it. It's really
Which
good.
is just the original 3 films, and that kind of got turned into the complete saga. So that's why it's called Lego Star Wars 3.
Because it's the 3rd game in the series.
Yeah, which I didn't know.
Oh.
So
I
that's
mean,
pretty fun.
I don't know, it seems kind of obvious now you say it.
It does, yeah. Now that I say it, but not to like 10-year-old me. But yeah, it's been good. Having a great time. Everyone holds their lightsabers really weirdly in it.
Because they're Lego men.
No, but like in the original, it was like, I can only describe it. In the original, they held it like upright, but then in this, they're like almost holding it like they're gonna drop it. It's really weird.
I do kind of know what you mean, but yeah.
Yeah, like they're holding it like slightly at an angle, and it's like, okay, sure,
Yeah.
that's fine. Yeah, so just waiting. I'm a huge fan. One of the early levels, because I haven't played much of it. There's when you fight Asajj Ventress and you have to like steal her lightsabers.
Yeah.
Like one of her lightsabers, and that's really cool. Love that. Asajj Ventress being one of my favourite Star Wars characters, because I'm a Clone Wars fanboy. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I need to play more as Ahsoka, since she's my favourite character. So yeah, that's me on the gaming side.
Okay.
What about you?
I have been playing a lot of Terraria.
That is episode number 6.
Yep.
And we've now mentioned Terraria in 5 out of 6 of them.
It's gonna keep happening.
There you go.
I've been playing a lot of Terraria. I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing. I haven't really been playing anything else because I've been busy. Because, you know, I have like a job and shit. I know.
By job, she of course is referring to watching Once Upon a Time.
I do not.
That...
I am not referring. No, I mean I actually have a job.
A job? A job? What's this job thing?
I
don't know what that is.
I mean, I haven't really been at my job for several months because of furlough, but that's beside the point. I still have training to do. But no, I've just been playing Terraria and Animal Crossing and... Oh! I have an update about Animal Crossing, actually. So, wedding season, right? I may have mentioned it last week. If you go back there enough days in total, you get to the point where you unlock all of the furniture and all of the walls and flooring and stuff, which is really cool. And you can exchange heart crystals, which you get after doing a shoot for Reese and Cyrus. And you get the same number of heart crystals after every single shoot, which is quite nice. You get 12. And different things cost different number of heart crystals. And so you do get to the point where just everything is unlocked. So there is a finite number of wedding things. But if you do it enough, you also get just gifted the recipes for a wedding fence and a wedding wand. And they both look super cute. So, you know, it only takes 5 minutes. You should definitely do it.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm going to just say that I bought Civ 6. I'm sure I'll have an update in the future about that once I've played a bit more of it. So look forward to that at some point.
Yeah.
Who knows when.
Great.
But yeah, that's going to be pretty fun. But I think that's all we've got time for today.
Yeah, it's pretty much run out of things to talk about. Other than the fact that, you know, Mamma Mia is really, really good and y'all should watch it.
Show us in Mamma Mia, once again, just reminding you. It's a recurring gag, everyone. It's a recurring gag.
Oh my god, you're a recurring gag.
Yeah, can confirm.
I don't even know. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this week. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.